But it's great to be back here again tomorrow. It's Friday, Parashat Naso. We just had a beautiful Chag, Shavuot. And I'd like to relate a question that's very, very common question regarding this portion. We know it's the longest portion in the entire Torah. And the reason it's the longest portion in the entire Torah is because the Korbanot HaNesiim, the offerings of the princes, is repeated over and over again. We all know that there were 12 princes of Israel, HaNesiim, and they each brought the same exact offering. So the Torah could have really shortened a lot of verses in this portion by just mentioning that all the princes of Israel offered this offering and mentioned it once, what did they offer? But in reality, the Torah went out of its way to repeat it over and over again. And the question is asked, why? Why the repetition? And I want to connect the answer to this question with a very important understanding of Torah Lishmah. We're inspired by learning Torah all night on the holiday of Shavuot. Torah Lishma, what does it mean, Torah Lishma? We all know a person who learns Torah Lishma, Zochel Dvarim Harbei, he merits in a lot of things, the Torah says, if he learns Torah Lishma, literally in the name of the Torah. And one explanation of Rav Kook, this is what I sort of understood from his words, is that, and I'll try to bring in a parable to understand what Rav Kook is explaining about Torah Lishma, is that we all know, for example, there are forces in the world, what we call shefa. The entire world is abundance, there is shefa, there's bounty, right? That's energy in the world. At the same time, there are vessels. In order to utilize the abundance, the bounty in the world, we must have a vessel that utilizes it, that takes that potential and meets the potential through the vessel. For example, if you have electricity, which is, we look at it as bounty, as abundance, electricity could do many things, right? Depends on what the vessel is all about. So if you have a computer, it's going to put the computer on. If you have a camera, you can take pictures with it. If you have a car that runs on electricity, it's going to run your car or run all the machines in the world. So we all know electricity is the abundance, it's the bounty, but the vessel is what, the individual vessel reflects the energy behind it, right? So each particular vessel has a different expression using that same exact energy, that same exact abundance. Some require more, of course, energy to run things, but in reality, each individual vessel has a personal expression using that same type of force. Now, why do I bring this example down? Well, that's exactly what the concept of Limud Torah Lishma is all about. Limud Torah Lishma, learning Torah for the sake of Torah, is to realize that God created us. And each individual, we are vessels of the divine light. But when the divine light goes through a particular person, it's the same divine light, but his vessel will express the Torah in his unique fashion of that person. And in other words, there could be 10 people listening to a rabbi's class, but each person will tell over the class in a slight different way, will have a different meaning in a way for each person, because they're putting their personal, subjective side to it. And that is the beauty of Torah Lishma, is to come to a realization that every individual that expresses their Torah on their personal way, that light, and allows them to be a vessel for the divine light, to realize that each individual is revealing another aspect of divinity in the world. And that without their expression, without that particular vessel receiving the Torah light, we are lacking, the world is lacking something. And therefore, it is such a vital thing that everyone study Torah. Not just rabbis, they leave the Torah to rabbis and the scholars, but no, every individual. It is so vital for the sake of Torah and for the sake of the world that each person become a vessel for that beautiful Torah light. With that in mind, I want to connect it directly to the portion where we spoke about the fact that the Torah is repeating over and over again the same offerings. And here, we obviously, if you can think about the connection I was trying to make, is that obviously when each prince made an offering, it was unique for him. It was different than the other prince. Everyone, although they brought the same items, they had the same abundance, they actually went through them. But when it came out as, their vessel brought the offering, it was totally different. It was 100% another addition to the beautiful universe that we have, that God gave us. That it brought down another rectification in the house of Israel here and for the entire world who's blessed through Israel. Now, this is reflected in a fascinating way. This is, some kind of, we call it chidush. I had some kind of insight that came to me, and I was looking very carefully at the verses. And I was counting the offerings. If we count the offerings in each one of the offerings, it's the same, doesn't make a difference. So the amount of offerings that were brought were 21 offerings. It's fascinating, 21 offerings. In addition, and I'll get to the number, why 21? In addition, if we look at the weights of the bowl, the silver bowl, and the other vessel that was used to throw the blood, each one, we add up those weights in the small gematria. What is small gematria? For example, each silver bowl was 130. 130, small gematria, we just drop off the 0, we're left with 13. The silver vessel used to throw the blood was 70. We drop off the 0, that's 7. What is 13 and 7? That's 20. And we look at the silver spoon, it wasn't silver, the golden spoon was 10. We drop off the 0, we're left with 1. Altogether 21. So it's fascinating. My eyes, I said, what's going on over here? If the numerical value of all these vessels is equal to the amount of offerings that were offered, 21. Why 21? What does it mean 21? I said, wait a second. Bang! This is exactly what we spoke about. So we know there are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. There are 22 letters, and every person is their own letter, their own special letter shining here. So why is it only 21, not 22? Because that's exactly the point. Each prince, when they brought their offering, they were offering the unique letter. And that's how they completed the whole alphabet. Realizing that each individual, that we can't do without each of these princes. Each one had to bring their own offering because each one is unique and special. And when the divine light throws through them, so we're getting a blessing that we can't get from someone else. And that's what Torah Lishmah is all about. Understanding this concept is Torah Lishmah. Realizing that this is what Torah Lishmah is all about. Learning for the sake of Torah, that without every one of us learning Torah, every individual is precious. Anyone who saved one life is like saving an entire world. That's exactly what it means, that each soul is so special. And what's fascinating is that who's the one who gave the idea of bringing these offerings by the princes? It was none other than the prince of the tribe of Yisachar. Yisachar, as we all know, he brought his offering on the second day. It says, "Bayom Hasheni Yikrid Netanel ben Surar Nasi Yisachar." On the second day, it was Netanel ben Surar, and he gave the idea. Why? Because what is Yisachar all about? As we all know, Yisachar was very special, and he was the one who was a brilliant scholar in Torah, and he was supported by Zvulun. And Yisachar was the one who gave the idea of bringing the offerings, realizing that everyone will bring the same offering, but they're different, because he learned Torah Lishmah. He was the greatest Torah scholar. And it just connects so well and fascinatingly with the entire explanation we just gave. Anyway, with that in mind, I want to bless you all with a beautiful Shabbat and let everyone merit in bringing their light, their special letter of the Torah to the world, because we need every one of your letters to shine. Shabbat Shalom, B'Sorot Tovot, Yeshuot V'Nechamot.